G'day and welcome back to Pillars of Ranternity. Last time around we cleared off level 4 of the Endless Paths of Cadenua. One thing that I should note, however, is that in doing so at some point, I didn't actually notice this, we picked up Resolution, which is a unique saber. It's been alleged that the saber Resolution can be traced back to the ancient line of warriors predating the formation of the Adir Empire, though the legitimacy of the claim has always been in dispute. What is known is that the saber has been passed down through generations of Yenwood earls, having accompanied them across the sea during the colonization of Deerwood. The saber was held as a symbol of their noble lineage, and the most formal portraits of the family include the blade in some respect. It was the youngest of the line who endeavoured to repair the weapon so it might serve them more than an ornamental purpose. The blade was reforged into a weapon that struck hard and true. The young Earl wielded it during his efforts to reclaim the Keep of Cadenua, traditional stronghold of the Earl of Yenwood. Both sword and bearer were lost, never to be seen again. Several missions were undertaken to retrieve the weapon, but when the War of Defiance arose, none met with any success. So, we also have this statue of an Earl of Yenwood who is missing a sword. So if we put that sword in the grasp, slides easily into place at first, but the last short space you find yourself having to push. You hear a hollow clunk as the statue's forearm suddenly shifts and rotates. You hear the rattling sound of some mechanisms behind the walls at the statue's back. Closer by, the sound of scraping stone precedes a nearby wall shifting out of place to reveal a doorway.
And what does the flame reveal?
So let's find out what's through here. It's going to be monsters, I suspect, at some point. So there's a memorial. Oh, well, so we do this.
Something over here.
We got ourselves a boiling spray trap, nice, and Lauren's stick. Lauren was an elven wizard who earned his living travelling between villages and using his broad repertoire of spells to entertain the locals. He was known to be a mild-mannered man and avoided confrontation where possible, carrying only his prized walking stick. As Lauren aged, he found himself plagued by pickpockets who would often use the distraction of his performances to steal equipment and coin. Lauren promptly decided to infuse his walking stick with an enchantment granting great speed, and from then on his performances were often punctuated by the startled cry of thieves. So it's just faster attack and reach. Sounds good. We'll take it, and endurance, I guess.
Lay low.
Found it. I'll have this open.
Okay, no, so no monsters in the secret room, so I don't have to ask how on earth they survived. That's nice, and lockpicks and things. Skeleton. How do you feel knowing the skeleton inside all of us is a skeleton that one day wandered the planet with a rusty sword. Yeah, I mean, see this kind of thing. It's an interesting mix. And generally not worth reading. Alrighty, so let's leave this place. I'm glad we finally... Wait, actually, can I get that sword back? The sword seemed decent, so I want it back if I can. Remove the saber. Ah, good. So I've still got the sword. 17 to 24, increase our crit multiplier, it's more accurate. 3DR bypass and heals us. 12 to 17. 17 to 24. One-handed. Which one of these do we replace? This one. It's the worst of the two. There we go. New saber. Endurance. Your stick. 17 to 24 burning lash. And 19 to 27. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay, great. Now let's get out of here. Gotta get out of this place if it's the last thing I ever do. So we can see the hand there. We can't see the face that was down here. Oh, and we can see that the pit that we could have jumped down is still there. And here, where's the master staircase? Interesting, that doesn't quite line up with what I remember, but we haven't actually met up with the master staircase on level 4. So this doesn't include level 4. Ah, of course. And there's the arm. So then there's an elbow and a face. Yep, okay, got it. I understand now. Okay, now let's get out of here. Let's skedaddle. So we've got a couple of options. We can go to Defiance Bay and continue the quest there to, you know, confirm ownership. We can head to White March. In some ways,
spirits in this place have begun to heal.
in some ways, the choice I feel is. Oh, also he did fall over, so he's damaged. If I were to rest here, right now I got no bonus, so it's actually worse resting here than to go into the woods and rest using survival skills, which seems off. So if we leave, we can then head and do. We've got so many quests right now. We can go and deal with stuff about here. We can try and learn about pasts. Can talk with a deer. We can try and do that scroll, which is what we kind of went for before. Actually, before we do this, recruit. How do I? What was the shortcut I was looking for changing my party out? Because I actually wanted to dump Kana anyway. Oh, this actually gives me that option anyway. So now, Kana. Sorry, you're just not Heravius, who is cooler than you. Okay, now we can leave. So we actually were planning on going and dealing with this scroll. Ah, Heravius also can level. Let's just keep pumping survival with him. And he's got a bunch more spells too. Cool. Definitely what I want. And let's head out towards the ruins with him. Although, he's an interesting one to bring to the ruins, because he already warned me. Don't you dare. 1 day 4 hours. 1 day 18 hours. There's a reason for doing this. Because we should arrive, have a building complete, and then we'll leave and continue. It's a more roundabout way of doing it, I admit. It's kind of silly. But I'm willing to do that for this kind of thing. So building. That 1 day building completed. Do I want merchant stalls? Do I want craft hall? A weapons and armor merchant could be useful. These are mostly resting bonuses. Bonus to stealth is not a bad one. Let's go with another 1 day one. And then we can kind of mostly get it done during our traveling. There we go. Pop up here. Then we'll travel to our next destination off to the north. It's kind of silly to do things this way, but whatever works. So this, I believe... Ah, right, we didn't actually finish exploring this area. So I need to be careful, because again, I'm doing this on too little health. But on the other hand, nothing ventured, nothing gained. And actually, let's be sensible. We can do this. Damage reduction 2. Heal multiplier 2. Movement 2. I just want damage reduction for me. She almost could get damage to flank. I could do racial accuracy bonus. Okay. No, we'll stick with that. Heal multiplier is healing received. Damage versus flanked targets. Let's do that. And let's give you the damage reduction, since you're meant to be the one that mostly grabs enemies. Okay. You awake to see Durance, his staff held in front of his hands before him. A flame flickers at its top end, casting long shadows across his face as he stares in contemplation. Still, for all the trick of the light of the fire, your eyes can't focus on him. Perhaps it's awakening from sleep or a trick of the light, but he seems indistinct, blurred around the edges, for everything except the staff. The staff, he seems to be studying its engravings. As you watch, the engravings glow thinly red, like through the cracks of heat-suffused wood. The lines stream like molten metal, burning through along the edges of his staff, and branch out in an intricate series of fiery veins, punching thickly where his hands clutch the wood, pulsing as if a heartbeat. As you watch, the veins spiral into a dozen separate circles, circles that spiral again until they're arranged in a circle of their own. They pulse, wait, and all is strangely silent, and then suddenly there's a great light from the fire, a rushing of air, a great flash, and you awaken again to see Durance in the same place, still holding his staff, but he's solid and real. He doesn't seem to have noticed you or reacted to what occurred. Okay, so maybe we should talk to him. Especially now it is creepy nighttime. Okay, well, let's see. I want to explore this map and then talk to Durance, or do we talk to Durance now? Let's talk to him now. Thought I felt your eyes on me, now come the words. I had questions I wanted to ask you.
If doubts and curiosity plague you, you're skinning your knuckles on the wrong door.
I saw something strange. You were sitting by the fire. I saw a great light from your staff.
Tell me what you saw.
It was a flash like an explosion, a rushing of air, incredibly bright.
It is the light of the God Hammer you saw.
The God
It
Hammer?
was a weapon of Deerwood's people, a symbol of their independence. It saved the Deerwood.
What do you know about
It
it?
brought the Saints' war to an end, knocked a god from his perch. There are few that would deny Aothis overstepped. The God Hammer reminded Aothis of it.
Yeah?
You saw its light because I helped shape it, give it
Oh,
life,
wow.
and release it into the world. Once seen, its glory is almost too bright to be believed, and too bright to be forgotten.
So, like, the God Hammer is literally a bomb that was used to blow up the avatar of a god. So, yeah, that's pretty impressive if you helped build
12
it.
of us. We fashioned the weapon, drafted plans for it, prayed for guidance at Ashfall, and it came to me there. Each of us were given a staff made from the forest of black trees around us, glowing with embers and fire far greater than this branch you see now. It felt as if the staff was Margaren's own finger, guiding my hand, guiding the other 11, the shadows of the 12 who had come to stand on the bridge to stop Aothis. Even in that staff,
Statue of the 12?
there was a ritual to it. For the 12 that stood on the bridge, there were a dozen shadows cast, a dozen faithful of Margaren, her fiercest supporters and shapers of the God Hammer.
Durance rests the staff in front of him, and the flame atop it curls for a moment, the light flaring slightly. It splits into a dozen rings of flames, one after the other.
As 12 held Aothis fast, we 12 unleashed our prayers and let the God Hammer fall.
Then it blossoms brightly once and resumes its candle intensity. In the aftermath, the shadows seem sharper in the vicinity, as if they have edges, and you blink to clear your vision. Durance is still staring at the tiny candle-like flame intently.
Shadows cast by the fire of the God Hammer, perhaps. We shared their fate as well in time. Now the spine of the Deerwood is marked by the God Hammer, marked by Margaret.
Durance frowns and moves his gaze from the staff. What do you mean, shared their fates?
Not all deaths come with stilled breath and stilled heart, or other stilled passions beneath the waste. Some deaths come from silence. The connection we once shared with Margaret, after the light of the God Hammer, it was not the same. It was as if we'd lost our senses, and sense of purpose as well. Instead of victory, being welcomed, there was silence, within and without. Not many can claim to have killed a god. It is less a heroic tale than you would think. And such a death, it changed our faith. All faiths, I expect. Doubt followed, and the world changed. I do not believe Margaren was pleased by what we had done.
That's always that interesting part of killing a god in fantasy stories. It's like, gods are not really meant to die in most of these settings, so killing a god is pretty shattering, especially for other divinities.
The
Why is that?
world is broken, the wheel stilled. There is sickness in the world's heart. Perhaps the price of crossing a god. Crossing two gods. Even as Margaret shaped our hands, perhaps we carried her will farther than was allowed. Just as Widewind did. Saint Widewind. Mortal arrogance to match mortal arrogance. Yet if the world had changed, then I sought to change with it. If I had forgotten some of Margaret's teachings, I would find them again. I would make her see me again.
What did you do?
I remembered Margaret's teachings. How reminders on the flesh were more important than the death of a vessel. And I wondered if killing Aethys, if that had simply set him free. Had it allowed him to escape his punishment and be taken on the wheel? Like a mortal?
It's an interesting idea, because yes, souls, in this setting, souls are real. They are very, very visible, and they're used in all sorts of things in magic. So that concept of reincarnation is also fairly self-evident.
As I
and how does it
stepped from
work
the
for
now
gods?
blessed Godhammer Bridge, I thought of Ashfall. I thought of the War of Black Trees. Wondered if I needed to be burned to find myself again. That is Margaret at her heart. At least that is my hope. These are the doubts that befall me.
What happened when you returned to
The
Ashfall?
road to Ashfall is long. Gives one time to think. If you think long enough, you do not go home. I left without telling anyone, with only the robes I wore at Halgot, my staff, and my name, which is long buried. Of my fellow 11 craftsmen, disciples, I know not what happened to them, if they suffered the same doubt as I did. But it was underserved. It was wrong. We had done all that Or had asked. Grab victory from defeat and
Do you feel as if you betrayed your god?
there is something about being used and cast aside. Perhaps Widewen himself felt it. There at the end, when the hammer struck. To be the proof that your god is hollow as the vessel it inhabits. I tried to find purpose, and avoided all contact with other Magranic priests. Did not seek the walls of Ashfall, and sought to make amends to my god through actions.
This is really interesting.
I joined with the Purges for a time, and not long after came the first signs of the Hollowborn. So many crimes, trespasses, violations. The Salvation. Animancers were another sickness born of the Saints' War. A relapse of innovation, of desperation to heal what we had caused. All seemed worse than before the bridge, not better. And as years passed, the world became even worse still for the victory.
Maybe the purges weren't what Migram wanted either. Sweat collects in the sooty creases of his forehead and runs down his ruddy cheeks. It drips from the tip of his nose. His mouth moves, but his utterances make no sound. He is, for once, at a loss. Feeling your gaze, he quickly composes himself, wiping his forehead with the back of a dirty hand.
Worship the whims of some fickle bitch, and you'll never be more than dirt beneath her feet. Worship what she worships, on the other hand. Take her fire for your own, and her esteem comes on its own. Of course, by that time you no longer need it. Trial and transformation, sure as Durance taught.
Yeah, he really did not expect that response. Durance glares at you, and staring into his eyes gives you the feeling of peering over the edge of a very great
You
cliff.
think to put the coals to my feet, but what's burned once will never burn again. These talks are your trial, Watcher. You cannot deflect the truth to one who has already been purified by it.
Tell me what happened on the bridge. We chose the bridge because we could control it. Durance's hands tighten at the top of the staff, as if holding it by the neck. It was the place where we could choke Aethys in his own footsteps, where we knew his feet would fall, a narrow neck of stone. But it was more than that. It was the spine of Deerwood, symbolic of its backbone. Such symbols are important in the construction of a weapon. Jordan studies his staff, eyes traveling along the etchings. Any weapon. Jordan's face hardens as his eyes burn, his eyebrows narrowing. I suspect Aethys knew it as well. And so did his vessel, and its arrogance. His hand tightens on the staff. He intended to walk upon the bridge as if walking on the backs of Deerwood. And we intended to burn him with the light of our faith. And his 12 on the bridge, 12 in the shadows, and gave us to it. Gave yourselves to it?
We put much of ourselves into the Godhammer. Such a device is not simply a machine. There are elements of the spirit in it. Even Widewind's spirit.
Widewind?
We
Why?
all studied Widewind. He was our enemy, and he had provided the flesh the god wore as a cloak. That flesh made him vulnerable. I knew what fields his hands had tilled, his family, what he had harvested, where he had been born. We sought to know him, what had led him to fight us.
Why was that
You
important?
don't kill the god. You kill the man it inhabits. And you leave that man a ruin. Burn him to ash. The weapon was meant to not only burn his flesh, but it would burn his soul. And it did. At the cost of our own. And at the cost of our goddess's favor. That whore be damned.
Is that why your image was blood in the dream? Jordan frowns, glances at you with a sharp look. Perhaps your eyes were blinded by the Godhammer's light, Watcher. He snorts. I may feel half a man at times, but even that is twice that of most others.
If you fear for my spirit, your fears are baseless. The Godhammer, seeing its light, only fueled my anger and made me stronger, made me re-examine the teachings of Margaret, put them in a new light.
It looked as if there was only part of you, as if your spirit had been sheared in half.
I do not need you to cast any more questions on me, Watcher. Nor did I ask you to look upon me without
He
my
does
leave.
not like
Be
these
gone, and
questions
leave
or
me be.
responses. Deal with it.
Yeah?
That's interesting. Definitely interesting. And the implications. What are the implications? That's really the question I have. Not really sure. Which is in itself interesting. Let's grab this. Hello, these things are corpses on the ground. That implies there was something. What did them in? Oh, these are the worms. Ah, yes, that's right. We said we'd do something about that. Sagani, can you mark this? In fact, everyone, can you just murder this?
Ready, Watcher. Dead on!
Okay. Now everyone murder this one.
Just say the word.
Idiot, can you head over here for a moment, thanks? And then just yank this one and this one, so they stop trying to be bad. Yep. You turn into a wolf and you...
Dead on!
Can you guys stop breathing fire on someone who's not in
fight is
melee
mine.
contact with you? Honestly. Okay. Done. 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 Got the wings. There's a dead adventurer.
Quick and quiet.
I should check our formation, actually. Yes, actually, that's exactly the formation I'm after. So if you run up here, then yank both of these, yank this one, and yank this one.
Dead on!
And knock this one down. You guys Can you stop trying to sneak?
Yeah.
Okay. This whole continuing to breathe fire at people that are not directly attacking you thing is really getting on my nerves. Gotta admit. Hey you, ram this one.
You better run! Just say the word.
Rude, honestly. That's really not doing well for my health.
Nothing will slip past me.
Okay. So, nearly got this part done. Oh, hi there, forest lurker. And other forest lurker. And thingy. Crap. Crap! Seriously. Haravi, okay, you. Can you just, puppet this one? Haravius, what do you got? Allies gain less vulnerable to disengagement. Yep. Haravius, what do you got for me? Soul fragments coalescing them into... What the hell does that even mean? Summons blights. What does that do? Okay. Ah! Okay. Endurance. What do you have for me? Regains that. No. Litany against minor. Prayer against bewilderment. Devotions of the faithful.
Quick!
What is with the lack of sound right now? It's really confusing me. And yeah, you're going down. Ah, why did I not save? Sagani, if you can kill that one for me, please. If you could puppeteer this fella, I'd be much obliged. Oh, immune. I should have thought about that one. I should have been getting those ones. Me, if you could... Oh dear. You could just knock her over. Thank you. Thank you. Everyone, could you... What is with the lack of, like, combat noises right now? Okay, whoops. Okay. Just kill her, and then everyone kill this one. And that was a bit more of a cluster than I had hoped. But, whatever happened, at least it's dead. And suddenly we get noise again.
Just say the word.
Okay, we got boots. What were those boots? Boots of long march, 15 endurance, 2 athletics. What do people have boots-wise? Yeah, I think you could do with more endurance, buddy.
Yeah?
Even though I'm sure whenever you turn into a giant cat thing, it probably loses some of its appeal. A man turns to face you, wiping blood from his estoc. His knit brows betray a moment of confusion, but as he watches you, a slow, confident smile creeps over his face. The Iron Brand does not meet many travelers this far from the road. What would they be doing out here? Probably after that dragon age, same as us, boss. A dwarf curses and spits in the darkness. It's a rhetorical question, you dimwit. Everyone knows the roads between the villages are crawling with brigands. They're obviously bandits, same as us. Surely we can divide the spoils somehow. Or why would you want a dragon egg? To sell it, of course. If I wanted to eat it, I'd grab some pigs from that farm and deal with too. Let's make a deal. You walk away, I paid the eggs value. Oh, surely we can divide the spoils somehow. An excellent idea. Just leave your coppers and equipment in a pile of your feet and we'll call us benefit. Boss, don't think we're going for it. It's worth a try. Okay, so. Idea? What I would like you to do. Alright. Everyone, you attack him. You deal with him. You attack. You yank him, actually. Because that interrupts. And yank him while you're at it. And then focus on that. You, if you could puppeteer this fella. If you could mark and then kill this fella. If you could just give us some buffs here. Ow. And me, if I could just go and kill this person too. Okay, now we'll blind you. Knock him over. Good.
Dead on.
And then idiot. This is not a good day for you to attack me. Why did he just burst? I mean, I'm not really complaining, but that seemed kind of strange. Okay, excellent. And that is a whole party's worth of junk. A whole party's worth of junk. Nest egg. The cliff face is blackened and melted like candle wax. There's a small outcropping ahead with what appears to be a crude nest. It looks like a challenging climb. Good thing we've got a grappling hook. Toss the grappling hook over the ledge and holding the attached rope with one hand, the hook lands with a satisfying clang and you secure the line with a firm tug. Climb it up. Oh, you know what? Let's send Adir. He's got all of the athletics. The rope makes for a quick ascent. Adir climbs the nest in the cliff with ease. So then let's... Nest is surrounded by glowing embers, twigs and bones litter the area. An egg the size of a small keg is nestled among the detritus. It looks heavy and awkward to carry. Secure the egg with the rope and lower it. That's another rope and grappling hook. Continue. Adir lowers the egg with slow and steady motions. Once the prize has reached the bottom and settled into the dirt, Adir safely climbs down the cliff. We got ourselves our nest egg, and so all that's left is whatever's up here. And then I guess next episode we'll go back to Deerfoot Crossing rather, and hand over that stuff. Finish off that quest. Might as well, since we're here. And then we will continue to get that scroll. I think scroll, head back to Defiance Bay, and then maybe start on Winter March. Yep. Alright, until then, have a fantastic day. Bye. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you spending the time and effort watching the videos I make. If you'd like to watch more, on the left there should be another video from this playlist. On the right there will be whatever YouTube recommends, and in the center there is a convenient subscribe button just in case you need it.